You want to keep the audience engaged and participating in the story, but how? I'm going to give you 5 ways to do that, and I just used one. Thank you for liking, subscribing. I really do appreciate it. Let's jump in. 5 ways to keep the audience engaged. Now, these are storytelling tools, not story tools, storytelling tools. And it's important you keep those two things separate. We often confuse them, and that's bad. Don't do that. Okay, so storytelling tool number 1 to keep the audience engaged, advertising. Advertising is an indication that a character is expecting something to happen. They're expecting to go to a job interview. They're expecting to get fired. They're expecting to go on a date. They're expecting to go on a trip. All those things that a character is expecting to happen, and when that is indicated to the character and they indicate it to other people or other people indicate it to them, that's advertising. So you've got a couple of people, they're a group of friends, they're hanging out in a bar, and one of them says, "Hey, are you looking forward to your interview tomorrow?" "Yeah, kinda." You know, it's like, okay, that's advertising. We just advertise, and we should expect as an audience to get some kind of information about how that thing goes. We might see the interview, we might see something that happens as a result of the interview, or the next time the friends are together, you know, the one saying, "Hey, I got the job," something like that. We are expecting things to happen when something is advertised. So when you advertise something, you're kind of making a contract with the audience of like, "Hey, I'm going to give you this information here in a minute. I'm advertising. Here we go." And that's actually what I did at the beginning of the video. I told you we're going to talk about 5 ways to engage the audience. That was advertising. Here's what's going on. Boom, there we go. So that's number 1. Number 2 is similar to advertising. It's called elements of the future. And it's also an indication about something for the character, but it's not something that they are expecting to happen. It's something that they are hoping or afraid is going to happen. The first one, advertising, is more about what might actually happen or what might not happen. Elements of the future is more about the emotions of the character and how they're feeling about things. So yes, the friend can say, "Hey, are you looking forward to that interview tomorrow?" That's advertising. The response of, "Yeah, I don't know, I'm really nervous about it." Okay, now that's elements of the future, right? Or when another friend chimes in and is like, "Yeah, dude, you're totally gonna bomb that." Now all of a sudden we're worried. Oh no, is it really gonna happen? We're concerned. So we've got advertising and elements of the future. A lot of times those play hand in hand, not always, but a lot of times you can kind of use them together, but they are two different things, and you kind of have to treat them a little different. The third one is scenes of preparation or scenes of aftermath. So preparation or aftermath. Now, the thing with scenes of preparation and aftermath are you don't need them. You can completely take them out of any story and the story still makes perfect sense. But they heighten the emotion and the expectation for the audience. Here's the cliche one. We were watching some action adventure movie and the hero or heroine is getting ready for battle, and we see them, you know, sharpening their sword or loading their gun or cleaning their gun or loading the grenades on their person and slinging things in a satchel and getting ready to go. Like, that's a scene of preparation. We've seen it 100 times. Another scene of preparation, somebody getting ready for a date. We see them trying on different clothes, trying this on, trying that on, trying the hair this way, that way, what's gonna work, I don't know. And what it's doing for us as an audience is it's heightening our expectation. We're either getting really excited about the battle or worried about the battle, thinking, "Oh, this person's going to die," or we're excited for the date, or we're horrified about the date. This is going to end a disaster, right? It's heightening our emotion. It's creating expectation for us. And then because of that, we want to watch what happens. Those are scenes of preparation. We also have scenes of aftermath where the character is processing what's happened. Like, you can almost even cut out the whole thing. So let's take a character who's going on a date. Okay. Let's say it's a guy named Josh. Okay. Josh is going on a date. And Josh is really excited about the date, and we see Josh trying on different things. He gets all ready, heads out the door. Dissolve to later. Josh is sitting on the curb. It's raining, and he's not moving. He's just soaking wet. We had a scene of preparation and a scene of aftermath, and we know exactly what happened in the middle, right? But it lets us get excited about the date, and then we're like, "Oh, poor Josh," right? As we're sitting there watching him cry tears in the rain about how bad this date went, that he wanted to go so well. That's scenes of preparation and scenes of aftermath. And they're great to use. Now, do you need them for your story? No, you don't need them at all for the story. You could take them out. But it's a great storytelling tool to engage the audience and pull them in. Okay, the next one you've heard of, I'm sure. It's called dramatic irony. Dramatic irony is simply when the audience knows something that a character doesn't know. But here's the thing. Dramatic irony only works under the following circumstance. On one hand, you have to have a moment of revelation. This is when the audience learns the thing. Okay, we have to have this moment of revelation where we learn something that a character doesn't know. But as soon as that happens, we are promising as storytellers that we are going to resolve that. So we have a moment of revelation, and then we have a moment of recognition. The recognition is when the character learns the thing that the audience knew. That's what dramatic irony is. So you can't have dramatic irony if the character never learns about it. You can't have dramatic irony if the character knows something and the audience doesn't. No, it's the audience learns something through revelation. They are like, ooh, aha, oh, look at that. Oh, and that main character didn't notice that. Oh no, are they going to notice it? Now we're worried. Now we want to watch. We want to find out, is the main character going to figure this out or not? Because we know something they don't know. So we want them to figure it out, and then they do. So when you have dramatic irony, it's another contract. You are promising the audience, hey, you've got this moment of revelation. There's also going to be a moment of recognition. Okay, the last one, and this one is my favorite of the 5. This is plant and payoff. Plant and payoff is when you simply plant something early on in the story and then pay it off later. And typically what happens is when you plant something early on, it either has a specific meaning or we might not notice it. Like, oh, it's just kind of something they say or something they do, something that happens, right? It's the medal that he carries in his pocket. It's the ring that she has in her purse. Okay. And we may not necessarily know what it is, but then later when she gives that ring to someone else, we're like, oh, she's passing it down. It's an heirloom. Like this is a thing. And she's, by giving her that other ring, she's saying that you actually are a worthy person in our family. Like we're welcoming you into our family. We want you to be part of our family. And all it is just the ring. It's a symbol, right? It's something that happens. Now, with plant and payoff, you can use anything. It can be props, it can be costume, it can be lines of dialogue, it can be even score that's used for the film. Now, do the characters always know about what's going on? Not always, but most of the time they do. They're kind of like in on it. You know, probably I love Captain America movies. And I've always loved Captain America since I was a little kid. And so in the movies, when we see all these things and we getting to learn about the characters, I was loving those moments. But there's also these lines of like when Captain America, Steve Rogers says, I can do this all day. I can do this all day. And that line comes up over and over and over again. And each time it means something different. What happens for the audience is when those moments happen, it makes the story feel smart. It makes the story feel like everything's been stitched together. It makes us realize, oh, all this stuff just fits so good together. This is awesome. This is a great story. Why? And we're engaged because we're planting and paying off things. And sometimes you notice it's a plant, like, ooh, that's going to come back later. Ooh, that's going to come back later. And then when it does, it makes us feel satisfied. It makes us feel like we're in on something that the characters aren't. The best way to do plant and payoff, though, is when you plant something, the more space you can put, the more time of your movie you can put between the plant and the payoff, the better and the more satisfying it feels. So you can plant something and pay it off in 5 minutes. It's like, oh, okay, that was cool. But if you plant something in the first 10 minutes of the movie that gets paid off in the last 5 minutes of the movie, now that feels really smart. It feels like the storyteller has just totally crafted. We've been in good hands. It makes us feel really good, and it's keeping us engaged because we're expecting some stuff like that to happen. So you have some that pay off in 4 or 5 minutes, some that pay off in 20, 30, some others that are the whole movie. And you can string those and stretch those across the whole story. You can even, if you're lucky enough, like Captain America movies, Avengers, all that, you have a line that gets said in the first Captain America movie that gets said in another Captain America movie, that gets said in Avengers, it gets said in Infinity War, like all these things, it just happens over and over and over again. And every time it gets said, it's like, oh, it makes me feel so good. It makes it feel like the stories are really smart. So this is a great, great tool. Now here's the thing. So the first three we talked about, advertising, elements of the future, and scenes of preparation and aftermath. Those are things the characters know, okay? They know what's going on, right? They're participating. They're expecting something to happen. They're hopeful and fearful of something happening. They're preparing for something. They're recovering from something, okay? They know they're participating in it. They know what's going on. The other two, the character usually doesn't know. They definitely don't know about dramatic irony happening. That's a fully on audience thing. They most of the time don't even know about the plant and the payoff. They're just kind of doing things, and then there's like a satisfying thing, and they may say something, or there's a prop or something like that that pays off, but they don't realize it's a storytelling tool. It's just part of their world. It's part of their character. It's part of their nature. And the things that feel very organic to characters are the most satisfying. So if you can find ways to incorporate these 5 tools, tricks, whatever you want to call them, into your storytelling, the more it will engage your audience. So make sure you're advertising things, giving hints of the future, right? Letting us see some scenes of preparation, some scenes of aftermath. Not every time, please, not every time, but some, right? The big moments, we should see some of those. And then there should be some dramatic irony, maybe, depending on the story, but it's always a good thing to at least include a little bit, because it is a good way to hook the audience in. And then definitely plant and payoff. It just makes it feel like the story is so smart, and that when you get to the end as a reader or as a movie watcher or TV show watcher, you just feel like you've been in good hands. Like how smooth and how great this was, that all this stuff just kind of wrapped around. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. If it has, please like, subscribe, bell, all that stuff. Really do appreciate it. Otherwise, happy writing. If you're going to tell a story that matters. See you later.